what are you showing is the beginning fund balance?
Right now, for fiscal year 24, your beginning fund balance, if we go back to page 8, and you see that 975,000. 975,823. I'm gonna reduce, I'm sorry, column 4. I'm gonna reduce that by 100, or 285,000. So I have a 6, let me double check my math here. That will be 690,823.
Everybody have that number? Thank you.
Sorry about this, but I want to go back again.
No, you're fine.
The, this would be, okay, page 9, the 175,000. Do you have a list, and you could just read out to us like the top 5 expenses of services and supplies, what the big ticket items that we've already paid for? I know the grant writing people we gave a fair amount of money to, but I'm not sure I know where the other big ticket items were.
You don't have that in front of me. I can provide it to the board with a detailed expenditure, but I don't have those in front of me, I'm sorry.
And would you get that to the manager as soon as
Yes.
possible, and he'll get that to us? Thank you.
And pushing that adjustment forward, then I guess if we went to page 11 and you went to item 8 on your schedule of existing contracts, I guess then if you carry that adjustment forward, you would zero out the proposed expenditure for FY 2023-24 and 24-25. You would, instead of having the 71,250 in those respective columns, you would zero those out. Is that correct?
That is correct. So what essentially this page 11, this is the schedule of the existing contracts, but if you look at the, I'm sorry, I don't have the column numbers on here, but the proposed expenditures, that doesn't tie the board to actually have those contracts. These are what we propose to have, and at any given time, of course, those figures can be adjusted. It's not a binding contract with these individuals. But yes, I would be able to zero those out at the pleasure of the board.
Thank you. Moving forward.
I'm sorry. I don't have any additional, unless the board has any additional questions. But again, if the board would like, I can finalize some figures based on the changes you've made. I just need like 5 minutes. Or if you feel comfortable, you can make your motion based on what we've discussed as amended.
I have a question for the manager. This would be page 11. These contracts that we have approved not to exceed amount for all these various groups here. So basically, she just took the numbers for 23, 24 and put those for 24, 25. And I think these are the ones for 22, 23 too, except for the manager's fee. Aren't those the same numbers? And are, you know, with all the inflation, was there some thought to this as to just leave them the same as opposed to?
Well, I think I understand your question. You'll notice that on our legal expenses, that was reduced by half over the previous year.
Oh, it was.
So the previous legal contract was $50,000 a year. Kathy Gilmore has stayed static. She's our Q&A. quality assurance person. She makes sure that all the data that we gather on our well level monitoring program is scientifically sound and legally verifiable. Daniel MacArthur is our Beck Environmental. You're familiar with the $30,000 that we've spent there for grants. Our audit is statutorily required. Insurance is statutorily required. Jameson Geological, that's our hydrologist, and he has not billed us in the previous year, but we keep him on ready because if we have hydrology questions that Mr. Klinke can't answer, we go to Jamie because he's a hydrologist. The next line is my contract. The cloud seeding we've discussed, and the DRI model from Susan Rybarski. That contract is getting finalized and getting the final version out of DRI and getting it into the system. They have not billed us at this time, and we have not begun the calibration process. I hope that answers your questions.
Well, I guess my question is, for some of these people like this Kathy Gilmore, have we used any of her services?
She hasn't billed us yet, but there will be billing in this coming fiscal year.
Well, I guess my question is, should there be some consideration of inflation in any of these charges?
Well, we're not maxing out any of these no,
Well,
sir.
I realize that we're not, but
Okay.
I think your question is, should we be paying more? No, we want to pay as little as possible.
Setting aside in the budget, given inflation, should we be setting aside in the budget more because of inflation? Not that we're gonna use it, but.
I don't believe so, sir.
Okay.
And if I can help with that as well, the way the budget is set up, you have, on some of these contracts, maybe a not to exceed, and some of those contracts are based on hourly. And of course, if we're approaching a figure that is exceeding these numbers, that of course cannot proceed until it comes to the board. And you do have, the way the budget is set up, you do have that within your services and supplies to allocate to those contracts if that need arises. Plus, having that contingency that we set aside, that's another mechanism where which the board can make those changes during the year. And again, these are proposed figures based either on the knowledge we have or historical information. For example, like the Kathy Gilmore, just by history that I know this contract, I don't know that we've approached the $4,000 a year for her services. So I would agree with Mr. Weeks on where the figures are, unless of course the board would like to adjust those.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and as you say, Kathy Gilmore has a history. Some of these contracts, they've been with us for years, and that's their standard, and we stay with their standard. It's an agreement under contract, so they know what they're asking for. I'm not gonna offer them more than what they're asking for.
I didn't say offer a more, I'm just saying, yeah.
The microphone's not on, thank you. Thank you very much. Any further questions? Board? Okay. I'll open it for public comment. Does anyone have any public comment? Seeing none in Tonopah, seeing none in Pahrump, I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board for action. The pleasure of the board.
Do you think? I was gonna ask one more question. I know that based on the amount of resources available, the budget, there's an identification of supplies and services which would be, except for the cloud seeding, would be significantly more than we are using this fiscal year. It's just because we have the money available and we put it in the budget in case we have something that we want to spend it on, but we don't have any big ticket items that are we've approved to have. So this is just contingency basically?
It's just where it lives.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, how long did you think it would take you to kind of plug those numbers through there and get a revised set of documents? Just,
I just need about 10 minutes to adjust those figures. I don't know as far as backup, however,
We can't do that.
yeah, I don't know whether that we can have the backup available, but I can have the actual figures for you and verbalize them. Or like I said, you can make the, motion with amendments as discussed.
okay, I'd make a motion that we approve the budget as shown, subject to the amendments that were discussed.
And that's for the fiscal year 2023-2024.
For the fiscal year 2023-2024, correct?
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Poll the board. Mr. Holden?
Aye.
Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Mr. Goodhart?
Aye.
Mrs. Williams, aye. Motion carries 4.
Thank you, everyone. I will have revised documents to Mr. Weeks today, so that the board can sign and I can submit to the Board of Taxation. They are due to the Department of Taxation by May 31st. I appreciate your help, and if Mr. Weeks will get with you on those signatures needed.
Thank you.
If you guys could give me a couple of minutes following the meeting, I'm sure Liz and I can get you, by the time we're done with this next item, hopefully we can get you signing documents before you leave today.
Thank you very much. Item 9,